Well, hello everyone, and thanks for joining us today with our MBO Partners webinar series, Is Independent Consulting Right for You? I am Gene Zeno, and with me today is Stephen Arensat, our Director of Consultant Services. Say hello, Steve.
Hey, everybody.
And before we get started, what I'd like to do is just go through a couple of housekeeping concepts here. We're using a technology called GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar. And on your screen, you should see something similar to this picture. And you'll just want to bring to your attention a few things. There's a full screen icon that you could click that makes sure the picture that you're seeing is full screen. So I would say click on that. There's a raise your hand icon. If there's some particular issue you're having trouble with, you could raise your hand, and that'll bring our attention to you giving us a comment. But by all means, please use the chat box for submitting questions. We will try to answer all your questions, either through our monitor, which is Jamie Buckley, who will be monitoring your questions. And if there's some questions that we want to promote to the group, I'll repeat that question. And if we don't get to all the questions, we're going to continue questions in our blog, so you'll have your question answered in our blog. So that's housekeeping. For those of you that do not know MBO Partners, we've been around for over 25 years, and what we do is we provide services to independent consultants, and everything we do is about making it easy for independent consultants and their clients to work together. And for those people that are looking to build a career as an independent consultant, we offer a launch pad, if you will, that really helps you accelerate your career into independent consulting. And for those seasoned consultants, we actually offer a full suite of services and business processes that provide efficiency and a safety net, if you will, for both the independent consultant and the clients that want to do business with you. So if you want to learn more about MBO Partners, please go to our website at mbopartners.com, and we'd love to talk to you more about what it is we do. But today we're going to focus on some interesting concepts. And we have 3 tracks to our webinars, a Getting Started track, an Advanced Topics track, and an Enterprise Solutions track, which is really for the clients who wish to utilize this new growth in independent consulting that we have seen a lot of companies want to take advantage of. The webinars will always be 30 minutes. We're going to try to stick to very quick, useful tips. You're going to get real-world experience presented, and we try to make them interactive. So today, we're going to talk about the top 5 characteristics of successful independent consultants, and to see really if it's right for you. And this is part of our Getting Started track. And Steve Arensat, who's been with MBO for over 5 years, who really works with educating those people who want to learn more about MBO as either starting out their career as an independent consultant, or certainly independent consultants that are burdened with too much business processes and want someone to handle their support structure and want to learn more about the services that we provide. Steve and his team is responsible for educating those groups of people. And over the years, I think Steve has talked to, more than 2,000 people or so?
Probably right.
Yeah, and I asked Steve, I said, Steve, what a great topic would be if we could reflect back on those, couple of thousand conversations you had with people that either want to get into independent consulting or are already independent consultants. And if you had to look back at all of these discussions you had and then look at how they tracked afterwards, if you could come up with what are the, top 5 characteristics of those people that have been successful in independent consulting. And I think Steve came up with some pretty interesting observations. So let's get started on that. So Steve, first, you talk about this concept of an independent state of mind, where someone is really motivated and engaged in wanting to have this independent career, and they understand what it means to be their own boss. They understand the opportunities and the rewards, but they also understand, hey, there's risks and there's responsibilities of being in business as a independent consultant or small consulting firm. So Steve, why don't you start off by sharing with everybody what it is that you mean by this and why you came up with this concept.
Yep. Thanks, Gene. So the first thing that I thought was, and this is by design, is to have this kind of independent state of mind as the first kind of characteristic of really successful independent consultants. And that's how they think of themselves. And the first thing is confidence. Being confident about what you do, how you work, the skills that you provide, your experience, your knowledge. It's not about just being okay at what you do, but being really, really good at it. And not just being mediocre at your abilities, but really having confidence in what you do. So that's by far the most distinguishing characteristic that I see in independent consultants that are successful.
So really have an expertise that's somewhat you could articulate and be able to productize, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. The next thing that I see is just being resilient, because when you go into an independent consulting career, the first thing that you'll realize is that there's going to be a lot of times where there's going to be some rejection. There's going to be things that you don't expect happening and that do happen. So whether it's a non-compete that presents itself, or you don't get paid for the services that you're providing, or you step off into your first contract and the client expected you to provide XYZ services, but you're only able to provide something else. I mean, these sorts of things happen, but you can't get bogged down in worrying about, trying to solve it. You just move on. You just pick up, you move on, and you seek the next opportunity that presents itself. And that is the next thing, is just being really opportunistic. And that's just finding opportunity in kind of the day-to-day events. It's really like it's almost like a mindset, how you think about just the everyday environment that you may interact with. So it could be as simple as, like, let's say you go to a restaurant and you're having dinner and you notice, hey, if this restaurant just, did X, Y, and Z, that they'd be much busier during this lunchtime or this dinner time. It's taking that type of mentality and putting it into the context of the work environments that are presented to you. So you're seeing opportunity to improve a process, a project, making it more efficient by delivering what you're really good at. And so
a little bit of visionary, kind of seeing things and saying, gee, I think I could provide value in doing that. And obviously, let's face it, it's also a way for you to think about I could make some more money, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's almost seeing the little things in your surroundings and the inefficiency in your surroundings and knowing that you can deliver something that people are going to purchase, and you're going to do it really well and hopefully efficiently so you can repeat it. And the last thing that I notice is that folks are really control-oriented. I mean, let's face it, if you're going to be 100% responsible for the results, you want to control the means to the end. It's kind of satisfying to know for most independent consultants that there's not this bureaucracy that they have to go through to get things done, and that they're really in control of the work that they're providing to the client and how to get there.
So Steve, it sounds like this independent state of mind, if I was to summarize it, is someone that's really optimistic. They're going to walk through walls. They're not going to take no for an answer, and they're a bit of a control freak.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
All right, so let's go to the next one. So Steve, the next thing you talked about was preferring to work in what you call a results-based environment, where you're kind of accustomed to doing work based on results rather than level of effort or time. You really want to say that you're used to working much more on what I guess, a deliverable basis.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's do you prefer to get paid on effort or results? And independent consultants, especially successful ones, prefer the sky's the limit, commission versus salary. It's just that they prefer to be valued in what they do based on their results, not how hard they try.
And so let me just ask you a question on that. So if you're providing services, I guess this goes back to one of the things you mentioned earlier, where you need to have that expertise to package it, right? Because if you're really going to get paid on results, I guess you need to be able to present your service in a way that you could articulate what the result of delivering that service will be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost taking what you do really well and packaging it in a way that's marketable, that you can sell at a certain price, whether it's a deliverable amount of $10,000, $50,000, but as opposed to an hourly basis where you're going to be paid for showing up the 40 hours or 60 hours that week that you might be working.
Okay, and then you mentioned this occupation being conducive to independent work. What do what do you exactly mean by that?
Yeah, there's this concept out there of this project economy, and if you haven't heard of it yet, I urge you to just go to Google and type it in. We also have on our website this link on the left. It's called Project Economy. We have this pretty cool video that you can watch. It's about 2 minutes, but it talks about the types of forces that are really changing the way that we work today, and how technology and outsourcing and the globalization and the change of the labor market has really created this kind of perfect storm that has allowed independent consultants, small businesses, entrepreneurs to really thrive, but not just for them, but also for the clients that are using them. So they have found that it's actually more efficient, and they're getting more results out of using project-based workers. So, because of this, this has really created this type of independent consulting kind of movement across the country.